Okay, nice to see you again. Oh, Ginny, yes. I try to remember, all these things. So let me start off. Um, let me start off now. By His grace, we shall be all well. Let me start off now. So, good evening, everybody. This is Lila St. Matthew Daniel, your life coach, your transformational strategist, the person who loves you and wants you to be the best that you can be. In my previous discussion, I established the importance of emotional safety, starting from a personal level. I did that before, personal level, and moving outwards to affect others. When you look at the wheel of life, I use that most of the time when I start coaching one-on-one with people, because you've got to know who you are and what levels your 12 basic needs of life is all about. And beside self, next to self, how you view yourself, how you look after yourself, is the family. You understand? Every single person, hello Udo, nice to see you looking very radiant. Looking at the wheel of life, you find that the next level after the level of self is the family. Every single person on earth evolved from having come from a family unit. It doesn't really matter the circumstances in which you find yourself, when you were born or the family you evolved from. Sometimes we are not in control of that. But every one of us has our roots in a family unit, which is the first point of human interaction. First point of human interaction. Emotional safety enables you the freedom to collaborate, enables you the freedom to dream, enables you the freedom to widely create, as I said last week, to share bold ideas, feel increased compassion, and express ourselves freely with one another. Someone, I can't remember where I read it, puts it in another way by defining it as a feeling of being free to open up and reveal who you really are, while trusting that the other person will still love, value, and unconditionally accept you. In other words, you feel safe with someone when you are confident and trust that he or she will handle your heart, your deepest feelings, your deepest thoughts, your desires, your hopes and dreams with the utmost care. Nice to see you, Coco Cokes. So in families, feeling emotionally safe is a very critical element required to thrive positively. It is something that both children and couples alike need. This is because we all could do with a safe place and safe people around us where we can be ourselves, to relax, to cry, to laugh and hope. Every person needs a place where you can express your thoughts, where you can express your feelings, where you can share your dreams, your intentions and beliefs, and not feel afraid of being judged, of being laughed at, criticized or ignored. You understand? Hello everybody. To feel emotionally safe in your family includes being aware of and openly experiencing love from your family members. It also involves knowing that you are cherished by your partner. When I told someone I was going to talk about emotional intelligence and security, they couldn't quite understand what I was talking about until when I explained. You see? When I explained that emotions is tied to security, to being secure, to being able to open yourself up. It involves knowing that you're cherished by even your partner. And that does not happen in some cases. Because if your partner does not cherish you, you will not feel safe. Being cherished by your parents. There are some children that have been brought up in homes that's like a battlefield. You understand? And they grow up, dysfunctional. They grow up with pain, with hurt, and this is transferred to their adulthood. You understand? And to be cherished by people who are consistently being encouraged to positively flourish in every aspect of your life is very key to how you will be later on, to how you will succeed later on. So your home your foundation is the first point of emotional security. Emotional safety is something that people long for. They long for their whole lives. You may not be able to put a word to it, but when you are emotionally secure, you things work out better for you. Things work out the way you want because your foundation, the foundation that God has laid for you, has the care and compassion and dunamis love that He has purposed for us all. We are beings function to love because God first loved us. He created us and He even gave us His Son for us, for all the nonsense that our forefathers and everybody was doing, so that we can be better. So when you are not shown love, you become emotionally insecure. So interestingly, emotional security doesn't just happen by mere willful thinking. No, it is something that you consciously develop and build upon once you know how important it is to every aspect of your life, to your success in every aspect, in your relationships, in your work, in your business, in your profession, in the way you handle your children. Do you understand me, Funke? Everybody, hello. So one of the ways you create an emotionally safe family is by being sensitive. Femi, how are you? Is by being sensitive, which is another word for being empathetic to the emotional needs of your spouse and your children. Even the emotional needs of your parents. I was talking to someone the other day. I said, you're complaining so much about your parents, but these same parents are the same ones who brought you up. Complaining that, nothing you do pleases them, you are now grown up, you don't want to be told what to do, you know it all, and you become resentful whenever they try to tell you something to do. Let me tell you one thing. A parent never ceases to see you as a child. Never. They learn to accept that you are grown up. They learn to respect who you are. They learn that you yourself, you are forming your own lineage as they did. But it's very tough. And sometimes they will come in unasked, sometimes, most times, to give their own advice or to tell you what to do. And it's because they love you. It's because they feel emotionally secure themselves to be able to tell you things which they cannot tell other people, who will tell them, please, don't talk to me, you're not my mother, or don't talk to me, you're not my father. But they feel safe enough to tell you certain things. So we all need, at one point or the other, to be, to build upon that love, to give them that security that they also need. You need to be sensitive. You need to be empathetic to your family, to your spouse, to your children, your parents, your brother, everyone. You need to be. It's tough. It's really tough. But when this class of people do not feel secure around you, you kind of throw them to the dogs. No matter how bad, what is it they say? They say a baby cannot be that bad that you will throw the baby out with the bath water. Thank you, Udo. With the bath water. You just have to find a way of dealing with the issue, of dealing with the situation. And being empathetic means you understand and feel the feelings of the other person. You try to put yourself in their hurt. You try to put yourself in their confusion. You try to put themselves in the ambience of their fear to see what exactly they're grappling with emotionally. As I said before, it's tough, but once you have love inside of you, once you know that this is something you need to build upon. You have to do it. Yes, empathy is such a powerful force for families to thrive. It is so powerful. You understand? So you need to understand that an emotionally unsafe or hurtful home, can cause emotional injuries that can be avoided if people are aware of when and how hurts occur. Injuries that could carry on for ages. You need to understand all of this. So by recognizing the emotional needs of your spouse, of your children, of those who are dear to you, who are close to you, and being empathetic to their needs, you create an atmosphere in your family where everyone has a space to be able to be themselves, no matter what, and be emotionally connected to the needs of others. Udo, you said, how do you balance empathy and being practical, showing tough love? Yes, as I'm talking on, you will find that being empathetic, you need to be able to balance it and know that sometimes you need to be tough, even in love, or else you may not be able to teach, especially to children, the way they should go, and the values that you yourself, if they are good values, that you have imbibed. So you kind of have to balance the two, being empathetic and being, tough when the need arises. It happens most with children and with their parents, but sometimes even with your spouses, you need sometimes to be a little bit tough, because we come from different backgrounds. And when love is there, that first, hey, yeah, love, and you get married, sometimes most people do not actually carefully make sure that the person they want to get married to is actually the person they should get married to. It's a bit tough, but you see, people are beginning to recognize that it is very, very important to be able to analyze all these things. And siblings too. And sometimes to show empathy and, be firm with your siblings, it can be very tough, especially if you are beginning to make a success of yourself, and you have to know where to draw the line about certain things. They believe that you now become one of the nastiest sister or brother that they've ever had. You understand? So, as I said, by recognizing the emotional needs of your spouse, it's very tough with siblings. It's very, very tough with siblings. But you just have to, once you believe and you know that what you're doing is correct and right, and you have analyzed yourself, you see, once you get into the position where you can actually speak to yourself and ask yourself questions, is what I am doing right? Am I behaving in the right way, or am I behaving the way I feel is the right way and it might not be the right way? You see, most times we do not ask ourselves questions, we just go deep into it. And one of the most important tools to use in everything that you do is to ask yourself questions when you're about to take a decision, or when you're about to take an action that may seem to be tough to other people, but you have weighed it. You have weighed it, you have done a self-appraisal, you have looked at it, you believe that what you're doing is right. Like my late father used to say, he said, do unto others as you will them to do unto you. In whatever you are doing, ask yourself that question. How would I feel if this is done to me? It's not a very easy question to ask, or the time for you to ask it. But I got into the habit of asking myself that. How would I feel if XYZ does the same to me? Then I discovered that because I would say I don't like this being done, or I would appreciate this being done for me, I will now go out of my way to do that which I think would be good for me, and then some people will take it for granted. You understand? So there comes what was said earlier on, that you need to know when to balance it. So when I used to hurt, I used to pain a lot, that I've done so much for them. Why can't they do the same for me? Well, you see, you are in control of what you're doing, and don't expect anything back in return. So therefore, when you are going to do something for people, make sure you're not doing it because you want something back in return. Just be yourself, because at the end of the day, you are going to answer to your maker anyway. You have to do the right thing. You have to be Christ-like. You have to just, give. Don't give more than what you can afford, not only monetarily, emotion-wise, so that you don't turn around and say, this person made me do this, that person made me do that. Do you understand? Let me get back to my point. So to create an emotionally safe family entails that as a person, you are open and accepting of the inadequacies of your partner, inadequacies of your children, inadequacies of your siblings, inadequacies of your parents, even the extended family. Some of us get married you come from areas where the extended family, when you go back home, they poke their nose. You have to be careful how you behave, because of their limited ability to reason past a certain point. They personalize things. They read meanings to everything that you're doing. So sometimes when you even go back home to the village or to your state for holiday time or for a function and everything, you come back more drained, because you need to watch what you say, you need to watch what you do, you need to watch what you act, how you act. And that is making them emotionally secure, because a lot of them feel insecure around people who may be more knowledgeable, more exposed to their own eyes. They don't know what problems you're going through anyway, that you've learned to just, take what life comes and believe in God and know you're going to Museum, but you come back home. So when you do that, when you try to understand the inadequacies of even your extended family, you will find that they are better able to relate with you. Not everybody, some won't appreciate you, but you will find that when you come back, you are so drained. You wonder whether you went on holiday to the village or not, but not all the time. So being sensitive and opening to accepting the inadequacies of your partner, your children, and all the loved ones around you, this is where the hard trick comes in. Because it's easier to be accepting when a partner or family or child is acting well, because they are joyful, excited, and full of vigor. But what happens when they act out? What happens when they, behave in fear, are anxious or confused? What should you do? As I said earlier on, I'll be talking about it as I go. What should you do? Should you not react? No. That, it doesn't imply that we should accept bad behavior. It doesn't in our homes. It's rather about how we can help these people to overcome their inadequacies by separating who they are from what they have done. That is where the empathy and love is. I love you, but that doesn't mean I'm going to accept bad behavior from you. I love you, but it will be completely irresponsible of me to accept bad behavior from you. Do you get what I'm saying? Hello, Lepashas. You need to learn and develop the habit of accepting the core beliefs and values of your partner, because we're talking about the immediate home. Remember that before you met your partner, they have built in these values over time. Values that has come through different backgrounds. So except in instances where they are negative, of course, which I assume you should have recognized before marriage. I deal with a lot of issues where, oh my goodness, I don't know how they became blinded with love, or they became blinded with the fact that they say when they get married, the person will change. I hear that. Well, I know this person is like this, but don't you think that when we get married, the person will change? And I always say the same thing. Whatever the person is before you get married, it will either get better or worse. If the person has exhibited negative behavior, marriage is just going to make him complacent or her complacent and just continue in that negative behavior until, by the grace of God, something happens. Counseling could happen, coaching could happen, therapy could happen. You don't know. Or when you get married to someone who you share the same values with, you will find that when you get in, those values, those shared values, is what will enable you to transcend the rickety and ruggedy situation that will happen, because two people coming together, no matter how good your values are, you're going to have some trying times, very trying times. But the values that you go in with will enable you to get past those bumps. You understand? Ijenwa, good afternoon, good evening. You understand? So, and one thing I'd like to say, it is important that you do not try to change your partner in marriage to suit your own personal interests or definitions of who or what you think they ought to be. This is the mistake a lot of people make, both male and female. You go in and you want to change your partner to suit you. I had a situation, a session this week with a young lady, and by the time I finished with her, she realized that most of the problems that she was seeing in the other party, in her intended, because I pray it's an intended, emanated from her. And we traced it down to her childhood, and that had made her feel so insecure and uncomfortable with herself that when she has relationships, she latches on. I call them emotional vampires. She latches on and practically squeezes the life out of the poor chap. And at the end of the day, the chap runs away, because look, a relationship is not for the other person to be your therapist or your psychologist or your coach or your counselor. You understand? It's two people coming together to try to live together, because two dysfunctional people coming together to try to pave their way through. You can't have one dysfunctional person leaning completely on the other to make things right. Your happiness is within you. The negativity is within you. And until you can touch it and you can feel it and you can begin to address it and mold it like clay, like we were molded by God, like clay, you will not really get by. So it's important not to try to change your partner in marriage. No, you lose out on it. You come, against one another. So relating this to your kids, you need to observe and understand your children for you to build your acceptance for who they eventually will become. Do you understand? Recognize that even though you bore them, please, they also are unique creatures who need to find themselves and be respected, that word, respected, as they evolve to become all that they are cut out to be. They have a destiny, they have a purpose that God has aligned to them, and you are there to nurture them to find their purpose. A lot of people miss their purpose and they're so unhappy, and they even miss their passion. Their passion and purpose is not even in sync. That's another, I've spoken about that before, but I'll keep talking about. So in a nutshell, the guide here is that you accept and encourage your partner and your children to become the best they're meant to be without being overbearing, thus causing tensions and frictions in your family. You find that people who have had an abusive verbal background, they tend from their parents, where they've been told they will amount to nothing, they have been told so many negative words, or even abused sometimes. If you do not recognize it on time, you will act it out to your children. If you do not, take out the gunge of pain, of hurt that has been, given to you as a child, you will see your own children through your eyes of how you were brought up, and you will create that pattern, and that is what they call generational patterns. It goes from one generation to the other. It's a learned behavior. It's a habit that has been programmed in, and once you are knowledgeable, you must unprogram that habit because it is negative. A child is meant to be nurtured. A child is meant to be nurtured in the way to go. And children systematically go through different, patterns, especially when they are beginning to learn when they are 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, 9 months, 10 months, 1 year, they are beginning to learn that they are in control of their eye motor, their ear motor, their whole being, and they will do things to exasperate you. Not because they are bad, but because they have to try different things. They will take the cup and they will, because they don't realize that if they handle it, it could drop. It's with experience they will know that. But when you try to teach them, or when they've broken one or two and got a bit of the flat spoon on their bum bum, they will realize that, don't touch that. Candle, the light is burning. They want to touch it. It's when they touch it. It's when they touch it that they'll realize that that is a no-go area. You said, Bombay, you said, as a mother, I pray to always know when to let my kids grow as they grow. Go as they grow. They are unique beings and have their own destinies. Yes. As mothers, you must know that. It's tough, but you must know that. Especially when you see them taking probably a wrong step. But if you've taught them the way to go, if you've given them the right foundation, they will never forget. And even if they must be adventurous themselves, the values you have imputed into them will guide them. Even when they veer off a little, they will still come back. Do you understand? So as I said, you must know when to back off and not cause tensions in your family, between your spouse and yourself. As I said earlier on, especially your spouse, make sure your foundation, for those who are already married, I hope your foundation was okay, where you transcend all the problems that comes until you begin to sail. After the 7th year, 8th year, 9th year, you begin to sail. The most difficult times, between the 1st year, 5th year to the 7th year, to the 8th year, if you can try to, get through those points, you will understand yourselves better. But unfortunately, if you did not find out if you were compatible, you will be having very rocky relationships, and you will just have to, as I tell people, find a way to handle it if you can, because marriage is not something you go in and out. For those who know, sometimes you make mistakes and you come out of it and certain things happen. So people feel emotionally safe when they feel free of excessive criticism. You understand? Free of excessive control by others. And this applies to your spouse and your children. Free of uncalled for blame. This happens in abusive relationships where one party will not take ownership of abusive behavior and will say it's because of you, it's because of your behavior that I'm behaving this way. No, they should tell that to the Marines. It's because they want to behave that way. You understand? Free of shaming from others because of who they are or what they are. So many things. Free from fears that others will turn their anger on them when they express their thoughts. And free from concerns that others will leave them. When you are emotionally insecure, you will always feel that that quarrel you are having means that the other party might leave you. You are so insecure that you might actually call into being that very thing that you are afraid of. You are the one who called it into being because you are giving out negative vibes, and you actually, it's very strange, you will actually transfer the negativity, the insecurity into the other person, and before you know it, the person may take a walk. It could happen even in businesses. So that feeling all the time that that party will leave you is a negative feeling, very powerful negative feeling, and you need to work on it. You understand? People feel safe to the extent that they receive positive attention from others. To the extent that they receive positive attention from others is the way that they will be safe, that they will feel safe. For example, interest in what you say. You're talking to someone, you're close to someone, they're interested in what you say. They are in agreement with your ideas. Even if they give their own opinion, they don't tear your ideas down. They are playful. They smile, you understand? They are appreciative for what you do and support you in response to many things that you do. People always feel safe to the extent where they get all these things. Do you understand? Again, it is important as a family that you have an open communication of what emotional safety means for you as an individual in the home. You must learn to talk. When couples don't talk, when you are not able to speak to your children, or you have formed a pattern with your siblings of constant, aggression and violence, it's going to make it a little bit hard. But it is important as a family, I'm narrowing it down to the immediate family, you and your spouse or your partner and your children, that you have an open communication of what emotional safety means for you as individuals in the home. Do you understand? That's why I said it's especially true for married couples, because this forms the building blocks upon which, they build their list of how to make their home, comfortable and safe, and plan for emotional safety in whatever they do. So this way you are able to create the kind of environment where your children learn and grow, knowing how to do same as they move along in their journey of life. You are the first nurturing point. You are the first example. So it depends on you as an individual to choose what safety means for you in your family. You have to choose it. I'm going to give you a few. It could be feeling completely secure in every way. It could be to being accepted for who you are, being accepted for who I am. It could be feeling relaxed and comfortable in every way. It could be being free to express, who you really are too. Apart from being accepted, to being able to express who you really are. You'll be surprised how many people cannot talk about their feelings and who they are in a home. It's very surprising. But not to me, but it may be surprising. So when you take it for granted, when you have a means of communication with your spouse and your children, there are a lot more people who don't have. And it emanates from a rocky foundation. You understand? So the way you choose to define safety, it could be by feeling respected. People feel a human being is made to be respected. So it could be knowing that your spouse is trustworthy. Your spouse is trustworthy, makes you emotionally secure. And that is a big point. When you cannot trust your spouse, the framework, the center of that marriage will not hold. You understand? Feeling safe, knowing that your spouse will be there for you. Don't take it for granted. It's not every spouse that is there for one another. Being fully understood, being valued and honored, having a loving reassurance, being able to open fully in order to give and receive love, not being judged, being seen for who you are, having your flaws accepted as part of the whole package, living in an atmosphere of open communication. Oh my goodness, that is the core of any relationship security, being secure. Do you understand? So working with this kind of list that I've put in front of you, this kind of list puts you in a place of positive knowledge, anticipating how you communicate these into actions in your home. So this is just a short list for you to choose from. I believe that as you make it a lifelong decision to practice any of the things I spoke about from the beginning till now, you will find them to be amazing building blocks to constructing emotional security in your family. So there we are, emotional security in your family. For those who ask, what does that mean? I hope you have seen it. So this series, as I've been saying, this month is about emotions and your security in various areas of your life. I spoke about the workplace last week. I spoke about the family this week. So this series will form part of my online course. I keep telling you this, coming up shortly. And it's called The Journey to Self-Discovery, which will impact your life in a transformational way, believe me. And in turn, cause changes to happen in your work, in your business, in your relationships, all your relationships. You will learn what blocks hinder your ability to create or retain wealth, and how to find peace even when you have more than enough. So make sure I have your contact so that you'll be given a shout out once the early bird notice comes out. You must make sure I have your emails. So in the meantime, before I close up, I hope you have had a wonderful few minutes with me, 34 minutes, how we are helping one another to be emotionally secure so that we can be all that we are called to be. How to give emotional security to your children, how to give emotional security to your spouse, to your siblings, to your parents, to yourself. Give yourself emotional security by loving yourself and believing in yourself, because it all begins with you. So you have a wonderful evening, and remember, you are the captain of your ship. Steer it well.